The ghost who walks, the Phantom. Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to take a look at our friend the Phantom. We're going to take a look at how to create the Phantom in DC Universe Online. I might talk a little bit of history about the character. And also, we crossed an important mark. We've crossed 2 million views on YouTube. So for that, I have to say thank you guys. At character creation, you can create a pretty darn good looking Phantom character using the partial slimline headpiece, of course the slimline mask. For the chest piece, any slimline chest piece will do the trick. Here I'm using the T slimline chest piece. Sadly, the problem is that there's not really, at character creation, there's not many slimline chest piece that allows you to have the hands free for your character. So you have to use a bit of a cheat. Here I'm using the formal gloves. And I had a bit of a struggle to try to put in the skin color. Somehow if I use the exact same color as the skin, it doesn't match exactly, but anyway. So sadly, that is the one of the cheat that you can use to be able to have a chest piece that doesn't cover the hands of your character. Actually, you're just using a pair of gloves that is skin colored. There's a few chest pieces that you can use a bit later. I'll show you a few examples. For the belt, the square buckle belt is perfect at character creation. For the pants, the new Genesis pants. And the boots, any type of boots will do the trick. Here we have the classic slimline boots. So straight at character creation, you can create your friend the Phantom if you want to. And of course, this is the purple version of the character. Originally, the character was published in black and white, and then something strange happened when they started publishing the character in color. They tried to put the suit green to begin with. It made some sort of sense, like a character that wants to camouflage himself in the jungle. He would want to wear some sort of green suit. Sadly, green on green, a green character on a green background, because a lot of the backgrounds would be jungle in the comics. You kind of lost the character, so they decided to do the reverse, to try to take a color that would allow the character to be able to separate itself from the background. For some reason, in Europe they used the red, and in America they used the purple. And as years went by, the purple version is the one that became the dominant version. So the character started using a purple suit, even though for a while he was using a red suit, at least in part of the world. And of course, you are going to use dual pistols with this character. And at character creation, the simple pistols do the trick well enough. But there's a few other pistols that you can get, like the semi-auto pistols that you can get as you play the game. And one of the styles that you can get early on that doesn't cover the hands is the new Genesis chest piece. Sadly, you end up with a whole bunch of lines, of weird lines on the costume. So sadly, not really the best option. The scuba chest piece is a better option. Sadly, you only can get the scuba set of gear during the summer seasonal from the marketplace, if I recall correctly. For a while, it was available during the winter, but I think it had to do with the Atlantis DLC that had been released. So sadly, if you want to have the scuba gear, you are going to have to purchase it during the summer seasonal. And sadly, the summer seasonal is behind us. So if you want to have this chest piece, if you don't already have it, you're gonna have to wait until next summer. For the belt, there's the Absolute Zero belt that you can use, that you can get only during the Christmas seasonal. It's a pretty awesome belt that allows you to have one gun at each hip for your character. Sadly, the guns are backward, but again, within the context of DC Universe Online, this is about as close as you can get to creating our friend the Phantom. Maybe someday they'll release some other dual pistols at the hips. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And there's a few boots that you can use later on. Here I'm using the Dr. Midnight boots. There's also the Gadgeteer boots. Let's take a look. There's also the Gadgeteer boots that you could use with the character. Technically the Gadgeteer boots are maybe a better option, but I kind of like the Dr. Midnight boots. But you decide. Another option for the chest piece that doesn't cover the hands of the character is the Stalwart Defender chest piece. Sadly, there's a whole bunch of, let's say, useless lines in the chest piece. And the only way you can really get the Stalwart Defender chest piece is to purchase it from the broker. Technically, it comes from Prometheum log boxes, but the odds of getting the chess piece from the log boxes are uber slim. There's like 800 styles in the log boxes, but a chance to get the one chess piece that you need, I won't count on it. So the better option is just buy it from the broker. There are a few different versions of the character that were created at some point. At some point, there was like a 2040, 2040 version of the character, like the Phantom from the future or something like that. At some point, also Marvel had in the 90s, they had a Phantom series where they tried to modernize the look of the character by adding a tiny few pieces of armor to the look, or a tiny few pieces of technology to the look. But it never really worked. But here I am. Obviously, this is the Phantom from the DC universe, so he is using the Justice League emblem because I really like this emblem. I'm using the Spindrift shoulder so that I can have extra emblems. Of course, the character would be probably involved in checkmate somehow, so the checkmate gloves made some sort of sense in my book. And I also gave him the Gotham, I forget, the Gotham Outlaw boots in order to give him a tiny bit more armor look as opposed to just having some normal boots. And of course, I added the Gotham Outlaw back piece so that he could have extra guns. This is, I guess, the extreme version of the Phantom, with guns at the hips, guns at the backs, lots of guns. For our friend, the Phantom. And here's a tiny variation that I made using the skeleton chest piece and pants. Those you can get from the Halloween seasonal. So if you want to get those, get those right now before the Halloween seasonal ends. You can get those right now at the Halloween vendor. It's something that was kind of inspired. Basically, I tweaked the kind of armored version of the Phantom, but also in the Phantom movie, they gave him probably what was the closest version of the Phantom costume they made. And in the costume, they didn't just give him a purple costume. Within the purple costume, there was like a skull-like motif that was pretty subtle, but it was there. I wasn't obviously this is not a skull. This is the skeleton, but it's about as close to recreating that feel as I was able to get within this universe online. So I thought it gave us a nice version of the Phantom. Although to give a bit more contrast, I kind of like to put the suit black with only the skeleton purple to be reminiscent of our friend the Phantom. Also, I kind of call it my stealth look. It probably makes the character a bit more stealthy when I use something like invisibility. You decide. Actually, I'm using stealth, not invisibility. The Phantom was my first main character in DC Universe Online. When I started playing DC Universe Online, I went through about half a dozen characters. I tried to make a Batman type character, but way back when I was a foolish fool and I didn't know how to just remove the weapon from the hands of my character. So after creating a half a dozen character, like one of those characters I created was almost like a Dungeon and Dragon rogue. But then I thought, nah, I'm in a superhero universe. I can play rogues and these Dungeons and Dragons all the time. So I created about half a dozen different characters until I settled on our friend the Phantom. And the reason why I went with the Phantom is that I thought we were stuck having to use a weapon. Again, I didn't realize that we could. Let's say we use brawling, you can decide to put the weapon bare hands so that you don't see the weapon. But again, way back when I didn't understand that. So I thought if I'm going to have to use a weapon, which character that uses weapons do I really want to use? And then I thought of our friend the Phantom. In retrospect, it wasn't the best idea because I ended up, if you want to recreate the Phantom, obviously you are going to use acrobatics, which is not as convenient as flying. So early on, it made a few maps a little challenging to navigate. And also I used gadget powers, which takes some getting used to. So I wasn't. Took me a while before I learned to properly use gadgets. And but sadly, once I started using my Magneto character, and I tried mental powers, my Magneto character became my main character at that point, because it was flying was much more convenient. Using mental was much more intuitive to me than using gadgets. And also the weapon. Dual pistols are fun weapons to use, especially if you go full auto. It's the one weapon where you can fire in multiple directions at once. Sadly, it's not a very powerful weapon, and it's a weapon that relies heavily on combos. There's a lot of combos you can do with dual pistols. So it allows you to be able to remain mobile with your character, unless you just go full auto. In that case, then you're stuck pretty much in one place. But if you start using the combos a lot, that means you don't really use your powers very much, or using your combos and your power, you end up with too many combos, if it makes any sense. So I wouldn't recommend, and especially if you're using, I wouldn't recommend using dual pistols with a power like Celestial or Rage or the Lantern powers, which uses a lot of combos, because you have a lot of combos with your weapon, you have a lot of combos with your power, but maybe that's just me. But early on, I played with our friend the Phantom. The first year I played DC Universe Online, this was my main character. I had created a few other characters to try out some of the other powers, but for the first year I played DC Universe Online, this was my main character, which made it a lot easier when I tried some of the other powers, and it made it very much easier when I started using characters that were flying. Again, flying so much more convenient to just go around than acrobatics. Also early on, since I was recreating our friend the Phantom, I didn't care very much about the styles. So I didn't try to complete collections. I didn't try to farm for styles. I just I had this perfect style for my character almost at the start. So I didn't really worry about trying to gather styles or to purchase styles from the broker. And in the end, I just needed a few extra styles to be able to customize the look of my character a little bit for each of my armories. This is one of those characters where I only have 4 armories. Yeah, I know some of you guys only have 2, so you probably say that I'm crazy to say only 4. But you can have up to 16 armories, and I have a few characters that have a little more than 4 armories, let's say. But again, you can create a pretty darn good version of our friend the Phantom, and you can create a few interesting variations, if I can say so. And of course, as I mentioned earlier in my video, we have crossed 2 million views on our little channel. And for that, guys, I have to say thank you. It took, just to get the first million views, took like 3 years and a half. And now we were able to get the second million views in roughly 9 months. And for that, I have to say thank you, guys. It's all up to you. And also, when I make those little videos, it allows me to be able to mark in time certain milestones. So then afterwards, I can look back and see how long it took me to get this many subscribers, or how long it took me to get this many views. So right now, actually, it's we crossed the 2 million sometimes this weekend. I think Saturday, but I wasn't able to make a video until now. So again, guys, thank you very much. I know that 2 million views for some channel, that's nothing. Yeah, there's channels that get 10 times that much for one video. Sadly, we are, as you guys know, we are a small channel. We don't even have 8,000 subscribers just yet. So 2 million views was a pretty big achievement for this little channel. So it was a pretty big milestone, and I wanted to mention it at least once. So that is going to be pretty much it for now, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask so in the comment section down below, and I'll see what I can do about answering your questions. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.